Captain Peter Cutsey, South Korea. This is my briefing room. We're sitting on the threshold of runway 26 at Innsbruck, Austria. Summertime, outside air temperature plus 35 degrees. Hot, short runway, heavy weight. We're en route to Dubai. The briefing today is supplementary procedure that will allow us to have the no engine bleed takeoff. This is in supplementary procedure section 2, and that's what we're covering. And we'll go over and have a look at it in a moment. We've popped over to the other monitor. A good look at the terrain in Innsbruck. And on the left side of the screen on the nav display, you can see the routing out through the mountain pass and through the windshield. As we are looking at that high terrain, we can see the mountain pass off to the right-hand side. So the importance in this case, we did the OPT, the Operational Performance Tool, and we are going to execute a 5-flap takeoff, but in order to give us extra thrust as a safety net, we will go ahead and do a no engine bleed takeoff. We'll review it first from a PowerPoint, and then we'll actually go and fly it. That's our position on the threshold of runway 26. Let's go into the PowerPoint that we created, and we are going to do a no engine bleed takeoff to give us extra thrust as a safety net. A no engine bleed takeoff and landing. The supplementary procedure covers both. The condition is when making a no engine bleed takeoff or landing with the APU operating. All right, today the APU is operating. If anti-ice is required for taxi, configure for a no engine bleed takeoff just prior to takeoff. Of course, it makes sense. You need the engine bleed for the anti-ice if that was the case. Not the case today. If anti-ice is not required, that's our case today. For taxi, configure for a no engine bleed takeoff just after engine start. So you can do it right at the gate. We are, for purposes to facilitate a quick video, I've put us on the threshold of runway 26 at Innsbruck. Takeoff, right pack switch, auto, isolation valve switch, close, left pack switch, auto. So we're going from right to left on the panel, air conditioning panel, and we'll look at that shortly. So auto, close, auto, and then the bottom left-hand corner of the 4 switches, engine number 1 bleed air switch off, APU bleed air switch on, the APU is operating, engine number 2 bleed air switch off, trim air switch on, wing anti-ice switch off. And now the wing anti-ice switch must remain off until the engine bleed switches are positioned to on, and the isolation valve switch is repositioned to auto. Not the case today. So let's go ahead and see what the next item is on the slide. This is after takeoff. So after takeoff, if we have an engine failure that occurs, do not position the engine bleed air switches on until reaching 1,500 feet. Or obstacle clearance height has been attained. Now, the departure from this airport is very critical because we have a 7% gradient until passing Whiskey 1005. And we have to be above 3,000 feet for that. And let's just slip my little picture down here, and we'll go to the legs page and just have a boo at that. So there it is here, the first point, Whiskey 1005, 3,000 feet or above. Then Whiskey 1006 at 5,450 feet or above, and then Whiskey 1007, 6,750 feet or above. So that all has been checked, and we have to be very careful that we follow that.